Hello, everyone. Welcome to the PIPCAST 3000, a bi-weekly podcast where we talk about gaming news and Fallout and other stuff, kind of like that. 10 a.m. Pacific on Sundays. I am Caedo Genesis. I'm joined by my co-host, BADCOMPANYSARGE.
Hi there.
And we have some cool things to talk about, along with some, gaming B-roll stuff that has become a fairly regular thing for the PIPCAST. So it's not just audio now. It's now a visual feast, as it were, of things that I decided to record and aren't really going to use for anything else. Or maybe it's just a whole bunch of gameplay from the Let's Play. I don't know which I'm deciding on for this episode yet. So our topic is going to be, are city settings getting old for Fallout? And that's based on a topic from one of my very favorite journalist sites, to quote The Gamer. It's going to be an interesting topic because it was triggering enough to where I was like, I can rant about this for a little bit, so I'm gonna rant about it probably, and Sarge may rant too. So that might be a fun little Fallout rant topic type thing about how the gamer is wrong. Well, we got some news topics and the tip of the day and the comment of the cast to go through first. Tip of the day. There's two of them. Sarge wrote the first one, so Sarge was the first one.
Yeah, the first one. Cool Ranch Doritos are called Cool Original in the UK and Cool American elsewhere in Europe. That's a little peek behind the curtain. This is the kind of fast-paced, exciting, amazing stuff that Caedo and I talk about while we're not recording.
Oh, super exciting. Yeah. I was I was like, are you having American dressing on your salad or something like that?
Some weird thing.
Or no, with chicken nuggies.
Oh yeah, Chimken Nug-Nugs.
Chimkin Nug-Nugs.
Yep.
With ranch dressing or American dressing or original. It could be like original dressing.
Yeah.
But I was just confusing things with the Dorito flavors.
Yep. Where
they're just completely different over the pond, which I just thought was really entertaining.
I mean, ranch dressing does exist over here, and I have no idea why it's called original for Doritos.
I don't know. Maybe there's different legal related things where like it's clearly not just ranch derivative put on the chips.
Who knows?
So maybe just like this is clearly seasoned in a way that makes it kind of taste like, it's seasoned, but it has nothing to do with ranch. So
let's
we're not
be real. You're getting chili heat wave, or you're doing it wrong. But a lot of people on the internet are wrong, aren't they, Caedo?
I am actually, because that's a good segue, though. I was going to say, I don't like spicy chips.
No,
so.
I was trying to do the segue so you couldn't rebuke me.
I'm rebuking anyway.
Chili heat wave aren't spicy. I have them.
Okay.
I have kormas as my favourite curry. I'm not a spice guy. Everyone can handle chili heat wave. Give it to babies.
Okay. All right.
So the platform I'm standing on now, babies should eat chili heat wave Doritos.
That's the real tip of the day. Yep. Give babies chili heat wave chips.
Yes.
What are we doing? My tip of the day, the Sarge was trying to gracefully segue into, so I couldn't go completely off the rails, was sometimes even official guides are wrong. This is something I experience on a fairly regular basis because I do write guides and create guides on my channel for a lot of the games that we love and enjoy. And Prey's strategy guide is crap. I'm just throwing that in there really quick. Prey's official strategy guide is absolute crap. But a lot of the time, guides, especially official guides for big games like the big Bethesda games and stuff like that, are really well put together and comprehensive. But some errors do slip through the cracks, or there's something in the game that doesn't line up with what the guide is telling you. And now, Sarge, I'm going to let you reveal that spoiler comment so you can read it.
I've just read this little comment. We have this mysterious individual who commented on a mysterious video. Can I say what the video is?
Yeah, you can say what the video is.
Okay, on Skyrim Ultimate Leveling Guide that Caedo made, saying, "Correction, sir. Archery is under Warrior Stone, according to the official Bethesda guide." And then another mysterious video, the individual who made the video, who may or may not be Caedo, said, despite it showing that way in the official guide, Thief Stone is what benefits archery rather than Warrior Stone. It's been that way since 2012. And Person replied saying that it's still just fandom. Has anyone tested and proven that, though? Because I use the Warrior Stone and my archery levels very quickly. And Caedo replied saying, like I said, 10 years and it hasn't changed. I did indeed confirm it myself. You can too, if you want, make a save at the Guardian Stones, pick Warrior, and take a weak bow through Embershard Mine without sneaking, fully drawing it on attacks, checking skill progress after last kill, reload and repeat with Thief Stone and see the difference between the two. Incredibly easy to test and has been confirmed many times over.
Yes. I don't like tooting my own horn, but something that is this easy to test on your own.
Yeah.
Trying to correct someone who's made it a chunk of their life to know things about a game, especially Skyrim. I don't get everything right too. I need to point that out. I don't get every single thing right. I have been wrong. Sarge is always right, obviously. But I have been wrong on many occasions on my guides, or some things have received updates, thanks Anniversary Edition, that make some things not so accurate anymore. Which I'm more than happy to, I'm okay with it. Like, except for I'm mad at Cyberpunk still. But this is one of those scenarios where somebody is willing so hard to be right, more so than accept new information.
I mean, I know I kind of make the joke of Sarge is always right, but genuinely being right does not earn you any points. And it's much better to actually get the correct info rather than die on the hill. And if you're even a little bit unsure of information and it matters to you at all, check it. Work out how the best way to check it is, and check it. And if it's something in a video game which you can test quite easily, like that thing is, you can do it yourself. And that's primary source, which is always the best way to do things.
The funny part is, I actually went out of my way to try to install the creation kit to get the raw info
that's too far,
from the Guardian Stones. That was actually too far and way more effort than it was worth.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm really worried about when the Bethesda launcher goes away, that there won't be an easy way to install the creation engine or the creation kit, because
could be a thing.
If you try to install it from Steam, it installs to the wrong folder. And you can't set the folder to where it needs to install to properly work. Steam just doesn't let you do that. Or maybe I'm missing something here, but the only way I was able to install it properly and get it to actually boot up was installing it from the Bethesda launcher. And then it detected the Steam directory where Skyrim was installed, which was very strange. Anyway, basically, I just thought it was a funny comment that somebody was really willing to die on a hill with plenty of information to the contrary, already there and easily testable. I think that's... And also distrusting the fandom wiki. Holy crap. Fextra Life, that's one thing. Fextra Life, I complain about them all the time because they have not enough contributors to be an actually well-curated wiki, but fandom wikis, the Fallout and Skyrim wikis are some of the best.
I feel like the Skyrim one in particular may be the best of them all.
Oh yeah,
because there's just so many people checking things on Skyrim constantly for over a decade.
Not discounting strategy guides though, they're a good backbone for information, but things do need to be tested for some games, especially these open world games. The thing that he was talking about in the official strategy guide, which obviously I have, I opened it up, and of course, archery was under the warrior category, I guess.
Yeah.
And nothing was saying to the contrary that it is supposed to. It's under the warrior, but it gains growth by Thief Stone because of some error in the game, which probably wasn't intended. So
Skyrim does have the issue as well of certain skills level a lot faster than others, and archery is one of the faster leveling skills. You compare archery to destruction. If you're playing just as a combat archer, you level up so much faster than you do as a destruction mage. It's ridiculous.
Anyway, that was a fun little side tangent. Thanks for allowing me to continue ranting a little bit, Sarge. It's cool. Like I said, I'm wrong sometimes, but I also do a lot of research. And that ultimate leveling guide was designed to be as such. It still works for Anniversary Edition. I made it as evergreen as possible. Anyway, moving on to the comment of the cast. Holy crap, that took so much extra time. Timothy Duffy left a comment in the last episode of the PIPCAST saying, Fallout New Vegas 2 will be released at the same time as Half-Life 3. It's a great joke, and I appreciate it so much. I mean, what do you think about Fallout New Vegas 2, Sarge?
Honestly, I think it's more likely to release than Half-Life 3 is, but the fact that people will just constantly go on about it does have the same, like, Half-Life 3 vibes from, like, what, a decade ago or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, yes?
Nope, that was it.
That was it? Okay.
A sigh of disappointment and regret at existence
just a
was
real,
all I needed
real
there.
big sigh at the New Vegas fans that are just clamoring so hard for New Vegas 2. It's not gonna happen, guys.
I mean,
You can
not
take
gonna
that
happen
quote if you
anytime
want.
soon. It can totally happen. Just don't keep expecting it
I'm
every
put it on a
week.
shirt. New Vegas 2 isn't gonna happen.
Oh man,
I'm gonna make people so mad.
I'm gonna tag
the rare
Paul
occasion that I go
things,
outside.
let them know about it. Get it in my back catalogue.
Well, there is something that hasn't aged poorly, thankfully.
It's aged rather well, despite what people say.
Starting off the news, Fallout 76.
Yeah.
Mr. 76 man.
That's me? What? Oh dear.
I'm sorry, I'm giving you crap.
No. So, we got a little article here from Game Rant. Man, I hate... that word is not good with a British accent.
Game Rant is fine.
Game Rant.
Gomrant?
Gomrant. They are sad. And Bethesda has 5-year plan for Fallout 76. Oh dear, I'm sorry everyone.
Yeah, I don't think you should be.
So Bethesda have like publicly stated now that there is a 5-year plan for 76 in progress. And like support for the game is going to continue. However, they do make it clear that the 5-year plan is a very loose one. Because it's an online game, you're getting feedback all the time, things ebb and flow. They also do talk about having a 3-year plan, which is a lot more kind of solid. Not like perfectly, oh, everything will go exactly as planned, because that never happens. Or mice and men kind of stuff. But they've got like a 3-year plan, which is a bit more level to what they're going on for. I'm in a longer 5-year plan. And it's just nice to see that they are planning stuff out for the future, which is good. You know, just good to see that they're keeping support for the game. They got plenty more stuff coming. They got even more changes. And by and large, the changes for the game have been good. So fingers crossed, it just keeps improving over time.
Yeah, I hope so too. I'm still a little excited for Expeditions to see what those are when they finally come out. It's just gonna be a while.
Oh yes.
We did have footage of me and Sarge playing the Zeta event, or the Alien Invasion event.
Yep. That was the last time.
It was chaotic and explosions everywhere, and
so many explosions.
We finished the event in record time and got some alien stuff, like
Woo.
asteroid chunks.
Man, I saw so many people asking and looking around for the asteroid. Apparently you got lucky. Yeah.
Oh, I guess so.
That seemed to be the big one that people were after. Not sure why.
Eric actually gave me a few of the extra plans as well. He was like, I have so many extra plans. Caedo, do you want some?
Eric was farming a lot of that event.
Yes, he was. He's our patron / farmer of 76. But yeah, I'm excited for the next big thing that 76 has planned, which is the Expeditions. So at least I hope it's a big thing. It's gonna be a new area, or an old area that we're revisiting.
Yeah, in the past, in the timeline. In this game set in the future.
Yes,
which is the current one.
Yep. If you think that made a lot of sense, just wait until you hear about Starfield and how it's made for Wanderers.
Oh, that was a segue.
Mm-hmm.
So, Bethesda have been occasionally releasing videos about Starfield, mostly just 4 of the big guys in Bethesda. I'm not sure what to call them as a group. But 4 other people working on Starfield, sorry, have just been sitting around and talking a little about it, and they show some footage here and there, and lots of, like, concept art and stuff of the game. And it's been really good to see the videos, because you get really, really good, like, insight into what the design philosophy and stuff is for it. Oh,
Yeah.
and it even says in the description. Okay,
It
so I will
does, yeah.
say, so the 4 people talking are game director Todd Howard, design director Emil Pagliarulo, I'm so sorry, lead quest designer Will Shen, and lead artist Istvan Pelli are the 4 people all having a chat about the game. And what do you rate the chat, Caedo? Good chat, bad chat, no chat?
It was a little trickle of information about like what is in the game. Like they mentioned, they finally mentioned, you know, what equipment you would want to equip yourself with depending on the situation or something along those lines, which, you know, before this point, I didn't really hear anything about even weapons being used in the game. So that's good to know. Also, they talked about maybe kind of taking a couple of notes from Cyberpunk's situation with the different starts you can do in Cyberpunk and not really having an effect after they happen, basically, and maybe going a little more towards what Mass Effect was doing, where you have your character background. It does get brought up on occasion and used seldom, but still used like throughout the story, as you know, character motivation or humanizing your main character in some way, or grounding them in whatever world that they're in a little bit better, but also opening up the ability to be flexible for character creation and backstory stuff, which I know is very important for you and your thing.
Oh yes.
What did you think about it?
I loved everything they had to say, basically. Like, everything they've said sounds good, and one of my favourite things was how in this they talked about like how they're looking back at some of the more old core or old hardcore RPGs made in the past and trying to take a lot of good elements from that, like traits and stuff. They talked about.
Oh, that's right. They did mention that too.
Yeah, they're talking about like so much like old school RPG stuff that people were constantly clamoring for. And then I looked at like the replies to a tweet that this was being tweeted out at, and there's so many people just like, oh, but it's not going to have any old proper RPG mechanics. Why won't it be a real RPG and stuff? And it's fun to see people who obviously just jump on and look at it and just instantly state their opinion, and it turns out that they're the people who are being addressed, but they haven't watched the video. Yep. That was fun. But genuinely, it does look great. I'm paused on like their giant city, and I'm going to have to whisper this, because I don't want too many people to hear me here. But this looks like it could be a better Cyberpunk game than Cyberpunk 2077.
I was getting those vibes too, and like, wouldn't it be hilarious?
I mean, anyone looking at the video, which we do have linked, go to 2:37 in the timestamp. Just look at that shot. That is beautiful. That is such a Cyberpunk city right there. I mean, it's got so many other locations. It is concept art, yeah. And this is why I'm just whispering it. We're not going loud with this yet. But like, this could be like a proper Cyberpunk style game, and that'd be kind of crazy. Yeah. If like not even a Cyberpunk game itself is like the best Cyberpunk game we get. That I mean, I'm not saying it's gonna happen. I'm just saying, wouldn't it be crazy? But yeah, everything else seems pretty good too. Yeah. It's good stuff.
I just want to take the drugfish. That's all I want to do.
The drugfish is so cool. That is there are really cool little flavor elements they add in. They kind of heavily hint at robot companions, which is something I love. And there is even the little shot, like 333, is it? 334, where you have a little robot talk to you. And like, it's definitely a pre-rendered bit of video. And I have seen a few people look at it and go,
definitely.
Oh, if that's what the gameplay is going to look like, that's great. And I've just been like, hey, that's like a pre-rendered little video thing they've got for this. This isn't them playing the game. Like, there's no HUD. There's like a cinematic element where they're really close to them. Like, the game could look as good as that, because it's not like mind-blowing graphics. It just looks very good. But there's a lovely little robot there, and having robots to hang out with is something I love to do. So, yeah, I mean, just everything about it sounds good. It is all just down to how well they can deliver on what they're talking about. Yeah,
this is execution on the ideas that they're filling our heads with.
Yeah. But the ideas are good. They're at a good ground level point. Just gotta hope that building it up everything stays stable.
Yeah, there was talk about the open joining of factions kind of thing too.
Yeah,
where like
man,
you, I don't know about that one, because like a lot of games have done the you can join the bad guys, but you can but not really kind of thing, because they were talking about like the space pirates.
Yeah.
In here, and they were just like, you can join the game as a bad person, or join the faction as a bad person, or you can join as a good person and be an informant for other good factions. But you're probably still going to be forced into like that same kind of quest with not as much wiggle room. It may be that, or it may be surprising and really cool. We'll see.
I mean, it's better than purely linear the entire way.
Oh, yeah.
It's getting your hopes up too high about that, like, oh, I'll be able to do literally anything and everything. Maybe not. I'm sure there will be jumping on and jumping off points for the different actual decisions and stuff, but that's fine. Games don't need to be perfect. They just need to be good.
No, I just know that, like, them using that as an example, they may put too much weight on that as a thing, because like we have the underwritten legion in Fallout New Vegas, where NCR is clearly the way to go when it comes to like quest density, or you have the Nuka World Raiders, for example, where you can just choose to free the people immediately and kill all the raiders, but then that just cuts off the entirety of the quest line. I don't know. If it's more along the lines of you can still go through it, you know, with little nuances based on your alignment, I think that's going to be really cool. But we don't know yet. We can be hopeful that that's the case, but we don't know.
I mean, I'm not concerned about it.
No, like for now, I'm just enjoying hearing that there's good things being said, and I'll be more like analytical and critical closer to the actual date. Yeah.
Once we start seeing gameplay, that's the time to start being like...
Yeah, that's gonna be soon. Well, soon as in like 3-4 months from now.
Okay. I mean, I don't know if I'd call that soon. It's gonna be not over 6 months.
We live in time bubbles, don't you know, Sarge? It's gonna go by so quick.
There'll be stuff in the meantime, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely.
Such as Flintlock, The Siege of Dawn.
Yeah!
The game that everyone is talking about.
The game that got a trailer, but I don't know if anybody really has been talking about it.
No one's been talking about it.
Obviously there's no gameplay, but the trailer looks really nice.
Yeah.
So this is by the developers of Ashen, which was a pretty well-received action RPG by Studio A44. I haven't played this, but after seeing Ashen, I kind of have the idea as to why it didn't pique my interest. It was primarily because of the art style or the art direction of the game.
Yeah.
And that unfortunately sometimes is a deciding factor for me whether I want to play a game or not. Like, I will refuse Minecraft every single time. It's a bunch of blocks. I'm not gonna play Minecraft. I'll play Valheim. I'll play the heck out of some Valheim as a survival game, but not Minecraft. Anyway, this Flintlock looks to be it's advertised as another action RPG by these developers, A44, and it looks like it's got a medieval fantasy. I don't know what gunpowder punk. What would you call that? It could be steampunk.
Oh, it's not steampunk. It's
okay.
It's kind of
fantasy spells and guns.
I'd say conquistador kind of time period with fantasy elements, which we've seen a fair few times. I think Greedfall was the last big example I can think of, where you're starting to get like black powder weaponry with the old fantasy weapons too, and they throw in some magic and stuff.
Yeah. I think that could be an interesting comparison. But the character that they're showing in this has a firearm and an axe, or a pistol and an axe, as well as a fox-like entity companion that clearly has some magical capabilities to hold enemies in place and stuff like that.
Yep.
And they're fighting ghoulish humanoids and or skeletons.
They're fighting skeletons. I mean, the skeleton movement in the trailer is like the standout point for me. They have a skeleton like pull itself up and with the sword that's in its head and then pull the sword out to attack you.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Like,
like style points for the trailer are pretty high. And even just pre-rendered as it is, it looks really, really pretty. But we'll hear more about it in 2022 sometime this year.
Yep.
But my interest is piqued. I always try to keep an eye out for, more new action RPGs, especially ones that, aren't getting as much attention as they deserve. I'm wondering if this may be one of those, or if it may be another Biomutant. Hey, remember Biomutant? You remember that game?
Biomutant looked cool.
That people don't really talk about anymore?
I feel like Biomutant must have been like a one-time play sort of thing.
Seems like they were trying to do a little too much.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, the thing that bugs me is that this game, like so many of the RPGs which are ambitious and kind of like a little in the background, it's going to be in third person, isn't it?
Yeah, probably.
I want first person RPGs. And there's really not many of them. Like,
yeah,
it's third person. Third person is like the go-to default. And I very much feel like I'm in the minority here. And I don't get people who are like, yes, I want to be playing in third person. It feels so unnatural to me.
Yeah.
I don't get it, but it's the popular thing. Grumble, grumble, grumble.
Sometimes I wonder if it's easier to do for developers in the long run to make a game third person like that, if it's going to be an action RPG.
I mean, one thing I will say is I think it's so much better for like trailers and stuff.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And just cinematic gameplay reveals and just making things kind of look better. Because first person can be a bit jarring when you're not the one controlling it.
Yep. Yeah, like, I mean, Mass Effect was in third person. And that's, you can still be pretty well immersed in that game.
Speak for yourself.
Okay, I am speaking for myself. Thank you. It's like my aesthetic thing. Like you have your own preferences. But you're getting a lot more third person games in your games you enjoy roster. So
slowly
just throwing that out there. You're gonna have to start eating your words. Get a whole bowl full of them and start spooning them in.
All those third-person games would be better if I could actually play them without feeling like I was going to throw up every 10 minutes.
Nier Automata was pretty good though, right?
Nier Automata is an amazing game.
Mm-hmm.
I think it might be a masterpiece.
You liked it way more than I did.
Yeah, it resonated with me.
Already. Yeah.
It resonated so much.
It resonated with your inner weeb.
Well, no, it's all about the philosophy of being human and stuff that I resonated with.
Oh, okay.
Caedo, did you miss the point of the game?
No, probably. I don't know.
I mean, I'm being a bit facetious there.
I played it a while ago too.
A big impact of it, man. I mean, I played it like a year ago now.
But it was longer for me, so it was like, I don't know, 2017-ish or something like that. It was a while ago, dude.
2017 wasn't last year?
No.
Oh, no.
No, it wasn't.
No. Alright, let's get back to video games. I need to pretend reality doesn't exist.
Well, SIFU wasn't in 2017. SIFU was this year. So let's talk about that game for a second.
Let's talk about that.
Jeff Keighley, host and basically director of the Game Awards and E3, I think.
Maybe.
He might be both. He tweeted this trailer for completely unlicensed, so far as I know, Matrix mod for SIFU by a guy named Half Mills Studios is insanely good. Man, I remember the days of unlicensed Doom mods in the 1990s. Ellipses. And basically what he linked was a SIFU created trailer of a Matrix video game where like characters were replaced with Neo and Agent Smith, and it is freaking awesome. It's like the Matrix game that we never got kind of thing. And I highly recommend checking it out if you're interested in those kinds of things where they're just creating something from another game about something as iconic as the Matrix, and it just kind of seems to fit really well. I just thought that this little thing was pretty neat, pretty awesome. Oh, the next thing's for me too. You put this in here for me, huh?
Oh yes, I'm giving Caedo his weeb time.
You know who I'd like to be my SIFU?
Who?
Is Hideo Kojima.
Yeah.
He's been awarded Japan's highest cultural prize, according to PC Gamer. He is the second game developer to receive the Japanese Minister's Award for Fine Arts.
Yeah.
Way to go, Kojima.
Very fancy. I was just going to say the first person to get it is Shigeru Miyamoto. So he's in good company.
Yeah. So, dude. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I didn't get context on that. Holy crap. So Shigeru Miyamoto and Hideo Kojima are the only ones who have gotten this award.
Only game devs to get this award.
Only game devs, yes.
It's not like just an award for the two of them, no other people at all.
Shigeru Miyamoto is basically the father of Nintendo, right? I'm hoping I'm correct there. And yes. Hideo Kojima is the father/director of the Metal Gear Solid series, and more recently Death Stranding. Pure insanity. And Silent Hill as well. Anyway, directly from Kojima on his Twitter, I received the 72nd Minister of Education Award for Fine Arts from the Agency of Cultural Affairs, Government of Japan. Thank you very much. I have been creating games for 36 years. I am very happy that the immature medium of games has been highly evaluated as a cultural art form of expression. I will continue to devote myself to the creation of digital entertainment. Thank you very much for your continued support. Man, that's pretty dang cool. It seems as though like there could be some like background stuff I don't know about, because we're only seeing a lot of things that are just being reported on or face value or whatever. But it seems to me, not just being a fanboy here, seems to me like Kojima is passionate about what he does. Yeah. I don't know if that's too out there of a statement.
I don't think you're saying something which is going to spark huge outrage or anything. Man enjoys job. What? How dare you?
Man loves job.
Cancel him now.
Man also happens to put his name in the credits 50 bajillion times.
And put his face in games that he's often not even in.
Yes, it's really entertaining. Yeah, I just thought that was cool. Thank you for linking that, Sarge. I appreciate the Kojima news. I'm really looking forward to Death Stranding Director's Cut. Hey, I should talk about that really quick. Death Stranding Director's Cut comes out on the 25th? 30th of March. Sorry, 30th of March is when Death Stranding Director's Cut comes out on PC.
Wow. Okay, that's 10 days away. That is before the next PIPCAST episode.
Yes. If you have yet to experience a post-apocalypse like no other made by this madman Kojima, try it. Okay, no, enough geeking out over Kojima.
Yep. Let's talk about something else that's crazy. Resident Evil is coming to Netflix July 14th. This isn't a movie that came out very recently, which we talked about. It's a series. Are you gonna watch it or are you not gonna watch it? I feel like I'm gonna watch half an episode of it. I mean, it's got Lance Reddick, who I'm kind of a fan of, but there's been a lot of Resident Evil movies and stuff, and there was a good one. The first one was decent. You remember the first one?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That was pretty cool.
That one was actually probably heavier on the horror than all the other ones.
Yeah, it still was by no means like a masterpiece or anything, but
no. But it was watchable. It was a movie.
Yeah,
it's a good movie.
Them things went absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
Do we think this is going to be more on the horror side of things or more of the crazy side of things?
Is there a different director, or has a director even been announced?
I don't know. We're looking at a tweet of this, and it's got the cast that was previously announced. Let's do a quick Google. Okay,
we're gonna go by track record really quick. How many Resident Evil films have released?
500? 600?
Also including 3D spin-offs or whatever. Maybe some animated stuff.
1,000?
So freaking many. The bar is incredibly low for quality of these movies and spin-offs and whatnot. And then you can calculate in the Monster Hunter film, which is also a Capcom property, which is a movie that is not very respectful to its respective game. Besides the monsters, that is. There's a lot of not good versus okay and or watchable so far. So I
found some information.
Okay. You found some information. Oh no.
Yeah. Andrew Dabb is the person who has been writing and apparently is helming the series. He's most known for Supernatural.
Okay.
And then we got Bronnan Hughes of The Walking Dead and The Journey as the Destination fame. I'm aware of one of those. Is apparently directing the first couple of episodes.
Which seasons of The Walking Dead, though?
Who knows? But yeah, it's
The Walking Dead drove me up a wall like a season in.
Yeah, I made it.
So it's like it became a soap opera with zombies who happen to be in the background.
Yeah.
I'm just like, shut up, humans! Just go get eaten or something. Make it interesting.
Apparently, this is going to be 8 episodes, each an hour long, and the first one has a working title of "Welcome to New Raccoon City."
New Raccoon City. Oh boy!
Because everyone wants to rename a city after a place where a horrifying incident happened.
Yeah.
Hey boss, we're building this new city, which totally isn't going to be infested by zombies. What should we call it? Hey, do you remember that place that was infested by zombies? We should name it after that.
It's a great idea. Nothing bad will happen.
I mean,
that's the premise. I'm sure it's fine, and then it's not fine. Boom, there's the movie or the show.
Yeah. I mean,
we don't have much to go on here, right? But I'm just basing my own thoughts on it based on the track record of Capcom properties turned into shows and movies.
Yeah. Ooh, okay. Apparently, Lance Reddick, the actor I mentioned earlier, is supposed to be Wesker.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, he's got a nice voice. It'll definitely make him sound intimidating.
Mm-hmm.
That's something.
Yeah. But I don't know what does everybody else in the comments think about more Resident Evil spin-offs? Because it seems like a spin-off if it's taking place in New Raccoon City.
Yeah.
I don't know if you would call it a sequel.
It's got Albert Wesker in it.
Just Wesker, though?
I mean, that's the only name I recognize, but I'm not big into the Resident Evil
Also,
franchise.
How many times has Wesker been killed and or defeated?
Oh, every movie he's in, every game he's in.
Okay, all right. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
I'm not super up to date with Resident Evil, but I'm pretty sure Wesker's the bad guy and he always seems to lose.
Yes. I mean, he's in several of the movies and he, dies every time. There's one point where an entire plane, I think, blows up that he's on. I'm pretty sure, an oil tanker blows up that he's on. And when it's just like, oh, I'm back in the next movie. Clones exist. Also, are you a clone? No, you're not. It doesn't matter. You have magic. Oh, we've injected you with T-virus, which gives you magic. Oops, no, actually, it takes it away.
I think I watched that one and I almost forgot. I forgot most of it because it was just a fever dream.
Yeah, they are. Yep. This will no doubt be a bit of a fever dream as well. It has potential to be good or be fun, but it's probably going to be bad.
Yeah. So tell us in the comments if you're optimistic or not, or if you just want to make fun of Resident Evil films with us. It's whatever you want to do. We have one more
news topic.
One more news thing, which was actually fairly interesting and something I'm looking into a bit more as it has more information. And that was we finally got to see, after so many teases and confirmations of it existing, the Hogwarts Legacy gameplay reveal showcase at the State of Play, the PlayStation State of Play, or from the PlayStation State of Play from March.
Yep.
And it's fairly chunky. It's 21 minutes. I think it took over the whole State of Play because it's something that's highly, highly anticipated. Because there's so many Potterheads out there that
really
love anything Harry Potter related.
It's crazy.
This might be shaping up to actually be a good licensed game. I'm putting myself at risk by saying that this early, but what they were showing actually looks like it could work well. Again, foot's gonna be in my mouth at some point, I'm sure.
Yep. I mean, I won't agree with you just so I can't be lumped in as well.
Sard is right. I'm the wrong one. You gotta remember that. Sard is right because he doesn't agree with me.
I mean, honestly, it looks fine, and that's about it.
For what it's going for and what fans, it sounds like fans wanted. They just wanted to be in the Potter universe. Or the Harry Potter, the Potter universe.
I want to go to Hogwarts. Where's my owl? That kind of stuff,
Yeah, and be in that world. It does take place in the 1800s, which is quite a bit prior to the Harry Potter stuff. So it is the Hogwarts.
I mean, you can barely tell though, because the whole Hogwarts thing is no technology.
Yeah.
So there isn't really a difference.
Yeah.
if you're thinking about it in terms of the movies, it's like everything from the first and last 5 minutes of a movie you cut out, and then it looks exactly the same besides that.
Yeah, I mean, magic is a good way to explain technology regardless. So,
Yep.
like, they can literally do anything they want. But it seems like the developers are passionate enough to where they're paying very close attention to like what is described in the books, what is shown in the movies, and trying their best to maintain that spirit while they're making it. And there's quotes in the gameplay reveal as well by those devs. So, like, I don't know. Might be good. Might be one of the next open world things. Might be. I don't know.
Okay. My guess is that it's gonna be like a bit too kind of linear and escorty at points. Just from watching this, that's kind of the vibe I get. Like, the actual exploration of like the grounds of the school and stuff gonna be kind of cool, I'm sure, for a lot of people. But I have a feeling that a lot of quests are gonna be follow this person around, doing what they tell you to do, like the standard, like, tropey stuff in RPGs at this point. I feel like there's going to be a ridiculous amount of that.
Well, I mean, you're still a student in a school. Like,
yeah.
But in the sense of linearity, that's like some of the most linear stuff you can put in a video game. But
you have free will as a teenager.
You don't get to be free. You're locked in Hogwarts.
Kids bunk off and stuff.
I think the main like taking off point will be like when they give you your broom to fly around with, like that might be the part where it goes from linear to more open exploration. Maybe. That's my guess anyway.
I mean,
try to make it a easy transition to learn the stuff before you just get thrown into the world.
I mean, honestly, I'm not excited for this.
Yeah. I mean, that's fine. I wouldn't consider myself a massive Harry Potter fan, but I'm going to keep my eye on it because of its open world nature, and whether if it does do well, maybe something worth considering in that open world RPG kind of genre that we cover.
I mean, it's been about a decade since I was last interested in the whole Harry Potter world stuff.
Yeah.
So it's just been too long for me. Like, I'm over all that.
You've grown out of it, like I've grown out of Pokemon.
Yep.
Just... And that's okay. That's okay. Mm. You can move on to other things. That's okay. This is for everyone in the comments, or everyone listening and commenting. You can move on to other things.
Yeah.
It's okay. You can move on from this podcast, but please don't.
No, don't tell them that. Don't let them know, Caedo. We have to force them here against their will.
You can grow out of Caedo. That's fine.
Oh.
Even though I still... actually, you can. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. If you're the people that are commenting, I watched this when I was a child, that doesn't make me feel good. That makes me feel old.
Hey, Caedo, I was watching your content
Sarge!
when I was a teenager when I was watching your content.
Yeah, I don't think you ever commented that though, did you?
I didn't comment on videos.
Yeah.
What do you think I am? Some kind of freak?
Just be Sarge. Don't comment on anything.
Yeah.
We're sending so many mixed messages right now, Sarge.
I mean, all the messages as well are bad for us as YouTubers. Don't watch our content, don't comment on it, don't interact, just leave.
Well, in the spirit of sending more mixed messages, let's move on to our topic.
Okay.
Okay? Let's do that. All right. So, our Fallout topic for this episode 81, is are city settings in Fallout getting old?
No. Goodbye, everyone.
Yeah. Both me and Sarge are in agreement. No. The answer is no. However, The Gamer is a hilarious video game journalism site where they have these little nuggets every so often. If you've been a long time listener, there was a while ago where we found a list of best companions or something like that, and they referred to Paladin Dan's first name as Paladin, if you recall, and it was hilarious to read this thing all the way through. This is another article from that site. So that's your context. It's someone voicing their opinion on a site that doesn't seem to fully absorb information when they write something out about Fallout. And it's usually pretty hilarious and blaring to those of us who are familiar with Fallout. All the context is there. Let's get into why Fallout city settings are getting old according to James Troughton, published on November 12th, 2021.
A little while back now.
It's still funny though.
I don't know how you find all these old articles to get worked up about.
I just typed in The Gamer and Fallout in my search. It's really easy.
Why? Why do that to yourself?
Yeah, I mean, it's better than some of the things that I get recommended. So the article starts off, one of the staples of modern Fallout is its renditions of iconic American metropolises? Metropolis with an apostrophe.
Yeah.
Metropoli?
What is the plural? The plural of metropolis.
I'm getting into the grammar immediately.
Yeah. Word forms plural metropolises. As in Lises.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah.
No apostrophe. That's
No
1
apostrophe.
point off.
Man, that did not take long.
We just become middle school teachers.
It's the first sentence
checking
and
off
they've already
homework.
got it wrong.
Okay.
F, go down a grade, get kicked out, you're expelled.
Okay. It continues, quotes, rather than being sprawling examples of the USA's infrastructural ingenuity, they're a bleak reminder of the past, a lingering commentary on nuclear warfare and the military-industrial complex. The familiarity of cities like Boston, Washington, D.C., and Las Vegas is juxtaposed with a dystopian edge that amplifies the horror of this war-torn world. The problem is that it's been overdone. The past 3 main games have included back-to-back cities at their center.
Okay, this is the first thing I actually want to comment on. Like, I'm wondering what they mean by past 3 main games. I recently made a video about what the main Fallout games are, and boy did that get some backlash, because...
Oh, for sure.
People classify what main Fallout games are very differently from each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like... so much, but like I do really wonder what they mean by the past 3 main games, because if it was just the past 3 games, they'd be off.
Yeah, I was going to say, like they said Boston, Washington, D.C., and Las Vegas. That's New Vegas 3 and 4, and they're completely ignoring 76.
I mean, with main games as well, they've included New Vegas if that's the case. And...
yeah, New Vegas is a main game in their mind, which makes the numbered Fallouts, or the 1 through 4 numbered Fallouts also main games, and New Vegas is kind of the weird outlier.
Yeah,
because it's a pseudo sequel / spinoff.
Yeah.
So already it's a bit confusing for the point that he's ramping up to make. Most of it I was on board for, like the familiarity of cities like Boston, all that kind of stuff. Basically just setting the stage kind of thing. Very well said, eloquently stated, but saying that the problem is that it's been overdone is immediately when everybody's just like, wait a minute, what are we supposed to be exploring if it's not city ruins?
Yeah, and like this would work better if like the games were set just in the cities.
Mm-hmm.
Like there'd be a solid argument if it was like Fallout 4 is just set within like downtown Boston.
Oh yeah,
that'd be horrible. Yeah,
if you were just in Boston proper, that'd be awful.
And if like New Vegas was just the Strip,
yeah,
wouldn't be a fan at all.
But they're more than that.
In fact, if you look at the overall maps of those games, the cities are a relatively small amount of it.
Mm-hmm.
But
okay, so going back, quote, the past 3 games, or quote, the past 3 main games have included back-to-back cities at their center, end quote. In this person's mind, we're gonna go with New Vegas 3 and 4.
That may well be what they're talking about there.
Which is their logic on this.
Can't be certain. I mean, if it was the past 3 games, then that'd be 76-4 and Shelter, which I think is quite amusing. Gosh, dang, Fallout Shelter with its city everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Carry on.
As a classic fan, this one irks me a little bit, because this immediately shows that this person, like other The Gamer articles that, oh boy, we might go over in future episodes, shows that they probably just looked at the wiki for some context as opposed to actually playing the classic games, and you don't get the full context of things if you're just reading the wiki. Watching gameplay is a little bit better. If it's that kind of situation, that's a little bit better way to absorb what's going on in the Fallout games, but if you're just reading the wiki, you're missing so much context. So the next paragraph says, Fallout has always had this. The first outing had Necropolis, a ghoul-ridden, ashy black city with spiked skyscrapers obscuring the sky. You can't see the sky in Fallout 1. Yeah. Meanwhile, its sequel lets us navigate a post-war San Francisco. The precedent was outlined in the originals, and ever since the games have been adorned with these rundown spots. It continues in the next paragraph. The most intriguing parts of Fallout 2 and Fallout New Vegas aren't the cities, though. Sure, the Vegas Strip with Mr. House and the gambling high life with caps instead of cash are interesting insights into what society values enough to resurrect after the apocalypse, although they're far from the highlights of the game. Instead, the vast deserts, makeshift towns, and underground vaults are what always leave a lasting impact. And you had something to say about this, Sarge, before we even started recording.
I mean, I have several things to say now we're on to the recording thing. So first off, yes, the vaults are a big highlight. That has always been like a big, easy point within Fallout. They are cool.
Vault tech itself is a Fallout staple.
Yeah, but vast deserts and makeshift towns I have a problem with. Because vast deserts on their own suck.
Yep.
The point I made before we started recording was that the only thing that makes the deserts interesting is that you then have these big cities and areas you can explore, which contrasts with them. If you just have a wasteland with nothing interesting in it, no big locations you can go to, that sucks. That'd be the worst. Just so bad.
As a reminder to everyone, New Vegas has 2 giant lake beds with nothing but enemies in them.
Yeah, how long do you guys spend in those lake beds, huh?
There are things outside of those lake beds, but these are huge chunks of land with just nothing but a couple enemies.
The game literally
both of them have ants too, by the way.
Yeah, the game literally gets you to walk around them. That's where the quest markers take you. The shortest route would be to go through, and you can save a lot of time doing it that way. But no one does, because who wants to walk through a desert just with a bunch of ants for like 10 minutes straight?
Mm-hmm.
I'd much rather spend a full hour looping around the area. And makeshift towns as well. The thing I wanted to mention there was what the difference is for them between cities and towns.
Mm-hmm.
Because especially seeing as they're talking about the entire franchise, like, a city in the early games doesn't feel the same as a city in the modern games because of the way you play them and the way you're walking around.
The level of problems that are happening in Necropolis, you could call that a makeshift. You could call that a makeshift town.
Yep.
So
it's like someplace, if we're just going off of what is classed as a city in our current world, then that's an easy ranking to go for, but some cities have been like absolutely annihilated and torn down so much that they're closer to towns now.
Mm-hmm.
Which makes a huge difference. And some places have been built up more to be cities. Like, Diamond City is a baseball park.
Yep.
Not a city. But that's, like, now the big central point of it, because it was rebuilt up. So
maybe cities are only in the context of what they were in pre-war, as opposed to towns and settlements being what happened after.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Maybe. I don't know.
I'm guessing what they mean. To be clear, that's only a minor gripe I have with that.
Yeah.
One other gripe I'm going to talk about is how, like, they mention the Strip as being interesting insights into what society values enough to resurrect after the apocalypse. That's wrong. That's not society valuing it enough to resurrect it. That was Mr. House having a plan in place.
Yeah.
The Strip exists because Mr. House, like, defended it from something he predicted, and then worked for ages to build it back up. That's, like, what Mr. House valued enough to resurrect.
Yeah. Also, Fallout 2 doesn't use caps. And Fallout 2 is used in that sentence.
Yeah.
Fallout 2 has a gold resource. Like a town that circulates gold and they make coin out of it.
On that sentence, I think you can forgive them because the last thing they talked about was the Vegas Strip with Mr. House.
Yeah, that's...
Like, it could be clearer grammatically, but I wouldn't go in too hard on that.
Okay.
That's just...
Caps instead of cash.
And to be fair, you do have cash in Vegas as well.
Yeah, I wonder if, like, they were trying to say, like, chips instead of cash, because that makes a lot more sense.
Possibly.
because chips are used, at least referred to as chips, in New Reno, and New Vegas, the casinos deal in chips and you can trade them in and whatever. I wish they did go the extra mile in New Vegas, come to think of it, where, you know, instead of regular currency or regular caps, you'd be trading with merchants there. You'd be like finding somebody in a back alleyway somewhere, and they'd be like, I'll give you this for this many chips or something like that. And you'd like give them Gamora chips or something like that.
Yeah,
I just thought that would be a fun little bit of flavor, because there's so many friggin' currencies in New Vegas. Yeah. Should we move on to
let's move on.
The next part?
There's like 5 more paragraphs.
There's several paragraphs. Do you want to do this one, since this is going more into the modern stuff and vision?
Sure. So they say on the next paragraph, Washington, D.C. is the headache you never want to explore. Boston is a drab area with little on offer bar a bunch of closed-off buildings, and Acropolis is a bleak city with little personality. However, they all bring the same thing to the table, a reminder of the past and what once was. It's a blatant display of the world before the nuclear catastrophe, acting as a bizarro mirrored version of our own existence. Wow, that almost sounds like that's intentional.
Yep.
You ever think that maybe these Fallout games are set in the real world to show like an apocalyptic version of places we're familiar with? That'd be crazy if that was true.
I know, right? That's odd.
Yeah. that point is just like missing the point there. Like,
yeah. That's a self-aware point. Like they're stating exactly kind of how something is, but somehow still trying to disagree with it.
Yeah. Here are the themes of this, and this is why it sucks that these are the themes.
A blatant display of the world before nuclear catastrophe, acting as a bizarro mirrored version of our own existence. It's a post-apocalypse. That's like close to the definition of a post-apocalypse.
Otherwise, we would just be playing. It's like if you play Rage, you could play Rage instead of Fallout, and then you wouldn't deal with that issue.
Yeah.
But then you'd be playing Rage instead. It's like not the point of it.
Yeah.
Fallout games are here to be that kind of dark reflection on a past version of our world which went the wrong way.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there is other post-apocalyptic games where you can just play it in a different world if that's the problem. If there's too much reality in your Fallout, just play something like Kenshi. You're on another planet.
Yep. Such an easy way to do it.
And Kenshi is amazing, so go play it anyway.
Okay, but then they continue to say, take that away and all that's left is our foreboding atmosphere of isolation in this post-apocalyptic landscape. The loss of distinct and tangible familiarity would only heighten the horror of this new world. Yeah, this is more of them clearly just wanting to play like Kenshi or Rage or just a different game.
I feel like I'm going to be contrarian about it as much as I possibly can. Yeah. I feel like that's what this is trying to do.
I mean, this point is giving me like strong angry commenter kind of vibes, where you can just tell they want to be doing something else, but they've decided they're going to stick on this one thing which isn't for them, and all you can say is just go do the thing you actually want to do. Yeah. Stop complaining about how this isn't the thing you want to do, and do the thing you want to do instead.
Yep.
But yeah, people alone would be the remnant that keeps it grounded, with their newfound take on life and civilization, providing a bleaker insight into dystopian anarchy. Consider Megaton's Rust Bucket aesthetic, which feels part atom punk and part Mad Max, and is complemented by an out-of-place sheriff. An entire game of Megatons and Bandit outposts would certainly freshen up this older series, while simultaneously evoking a new, more effective form of horror. An entire game of Megatons sounds like a city, almost, in my mind.
Also, there's a lack of variety there.
Yeah.
There's a bit of a lack of variety, because even though, I mean, you could even take Fallout 3 as an example. It has, the nice green filter over it with, a very bleak, probably the most bleak aesthetic and feel of the Fallout franchise. But you have differences in these settlements that kind of carry different themes along with them. You have Megaton, which is a clearly place that has built itself up from close to nothing. But if you have that just everywhere, then it becomes samey.
Yeah.
Whereas
Megaton stands out because it is very different from other locations.
Yeah, and that's part of what makes these locations iconic as well, along with, you know, the DC ruins, is like when you can see it in the distance, you know what it is, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or you know where it is. They did that with Rivet City. They did that with Tenpenny Tower. They knew exactly what they were doing. They did the big boy lookalike at Paradise Falls. Like, they knew exactly what they were doing for, you know, locations and diversity and stuff like that. I don't know. And also comparing it to Mad Max, maybe comparing it to the Mad Max video game, settlements were some of the most boring parts because they did all look alike. I'm gonna throw that out there real quick. Mad Max is still a fun game, mind you, but like there was a lot of very samey kind of stuff going on in between the driving and the explosions. So, you know, out of place sheriff too. I don't think, I mean, he's integral to the story of Megaton, or the kind of initial quest of Megaton.
I'll be honest, I'm not sure if they're saying if this is a good or a bad thing when they mention me out of place sheriff. Like, I think they might be complimenting it because they seem to be happy about Megaton.
Because they want more Megatons with more sheriffs.
Yeah. I'm getting the feeling they're just like, hey, I preferred Megaton to, like, the DC ruins. Why isn't the entire game Megaton?
Yeah,
is kind of the vibe I'm getting there.
This also starts to become more confusing too, because are they bothered by what former cities are in the game or what actual settlements are in the game?
Well, what they claim is that the problem is the proximity to the present. The Fallout games don't take place too long after the war has ended, only like a couple of 100 years or so. That's me adding in that point.
It's like 200 years.
Yeah. Bethesda could forge ahead with a lengthy time jump and show us how people are getting on. Maybe like 200 years later, like Fallout 4. Perhaps there's an entirely new makeshift city that has sprung up in the apocalypse from scratch, sort of like Megaton, but entirely ran and occupied by ghouls. A city that's run and occupied by ghouls. That'd be crazy if one of those existed.
This person has a little bit of a necropolis fetish, I think.
I'm just going to finish it off quickly. Or maybe there are some old-timers who have gone back to the medieval age. There's a wealth of untapped potential for Bethesda to take advantage of. Yeah, this is clearly them stating that they don't like that the cities are built from cities of the past. They think that everything should be torn down and a new city should be built up from nothing, which does just go back to the point of play something that isn't Fallout, play Rust, play Kenshi.
I could say like
Elex.
Oh my god. I'll say so, like, even in the context of using Kenshi as an example, it is you can build your own settlement like wherever you want on the map, basically. However, there are like pre-placed cities around, cities that are around the map as well, that are like safe havens a lot of the time, depending on which factions you're allied with or whatever. I think it would be stupid to build something from scratch when there's a perfectly walled off ruin that you can just build up.
Yeah.
And have a better functioning settlement with defensive capabilities that you didn't have to build yourself. That could be just me, but in the context of playing a game like that, and kind of the vibe that it seems like this writer is going for, the smarter thing for post-apoc survivors to do is to use what's pre-existing and reinforce it rather than have to start from scratch.
Yeah.
And that's just practical thinking in a like real world standpoint too. Like, you have something that's already, you know, functional, and you add on to it, you're going to do less work and gain more benefits from that.
And I mean, we have, like, the examples they kind of like is stuff like Megaton, which is built around a bomb and stuff. That is, like, as far as it pretty much goes in fully building up from nothing, so to speak.
Yeah.
But even stuff like Rivet City, you know, another city, is built around something pre-existing. Sure, it's not an entire city that's from the past, but it's built around this big old carrier ship, which they've decided to build on.
I think they intentionally did not mention Rivet City because of that. I think they're being really adamant about the building from scratch part. This is fun.
Alright, we've only got 2 paragraphs left.
Alright.
To circle back to Metro Exodus. Wait, they've got Metro, Exodus. Why don't they just say... We have issues with the grammar. I'm not going to bring them up.
Yeah.
To circle back to Metro Exodus... to circle back to Metro, Exodus showed us the potential of a series moving beyond what it's known for. Metro 2033 and Last Light are primarily set in the Metro tunnels, as the name suggests. But another key element is the city of Moscow looming above, an irradiated hellhole that's uninhabitable. However, Exodus takes on a train ride around Russia, where we fight against doomsday worshippers in a swamp, bandits in sandstorms in the desert, and raiders in a luscious forest. It starts briefly in Moscow to explain how we leave the city and ends with a parallel to that, the Dead City. Rather than being ravaged by bombs, it was deserted as a result of lethal radiation. Nonetheless, the bulk of the game transpires away from the cities that were a staple to both 2033 and Last Light. Do you know whatever game series has, like, the majority of the map not being cities? It's Fallout.
Yeah.
So much of Fallout happens outside of the cities.
Also, Metro Exodus, which they also didn't mention here, these are hub areas, not an entire open world. These are, treat it more like the Outer Worlds, where it's more like open maps, but it's still like just connected through the linear story of you going down that train track to these different areas. You can't go back to these areas, by the way. Like, once you go there and do your thing, after you start going to the next place, you can't go back. It's still a linear story. So,
I mean, that explains why you don't go back there as often.
It has some points in its favor for that, though. Like, it's still telling a good story. It's the Metro is supposed to be a linear story. Yeah. And I'm impressed by what the developers did to make that more open and explorable for players. But still, like, this really feels like an apples and oranges kind of thing, where things were designed as these kinds of set pieces in Metro because you're only going to spend so much time there. And there's less of it. So that's a different, I feel like that's a different soapbox that I'm deciding to step over to.
Okay, well, I feel a big sentence which needs to be pointed out is them talking about fighting doomsday worshippers in a swamp, bandits in sandstorms in the desert, and raiders in a luscious forest. They're clearly wanting a variety of biomes, which you pointed out before we started recording is exactly what 76 gives you. Yep.
If you want to fight things in a swamp, go to the Mire. The Mire is like probably my favorite biome there because it's probably what feels the most Fallout in 76 to me. Okay. If you're going for, like, you know, just general ambience feel. And I spent a lot of time there, like, trying to get certain random encounters and stuff like that, but partially because I still really do enjoy that part of the map. Yeah. And then you have the Toxic Valley, which is underused still. Like, you have the raiders there, but like it's pretty underused for other stuff late game.
That's kind of a deserty area, though. That is there. And a luscious forest, I mean, you start out in a forest where you do fight raiders.
Yep.
Like, and you fight all of these things in these locations in 76.
Yeah. And then you have the Ash Heap and the Cranberry Bog, and
the Savage Divide is the
Savage Divide,
which we haven't mentioned. Yeah. Got a whole bunch of places.
Yeah. And they're all aesthetically different and have a different kind of you know, ambience to them.
You get a huge amount of variety in it.
Unfortunately, there's like 2 settlements in 76.
I mean, there's more now.
2 main.
I suppose it depends what you mean by settlements.
I guess three if you're counting the Brotherhood, right?
Yeah. And I mean, the settlements are pretty city-like as well, to an extent. And then there's Watoga City as well.
When we're talking about city ruins, which is, city ruins that have very active robotic defenses, which is pretty cool. Yeah. So clearly avoiding 76 as a topic, it seems like this person who was writing this article had never played 76 or played it at launch and then refused to play it afterwards, which is understandable for a disgruntled fan. For somebody who writes articles about Fallout, I feel like it's important to get the full context of what's going on with the games.
When it feels like this is very much saying, I want Fallout 76's map, essentially. feels like what they're asking for. It's and then saying, "Man, why has no Fallout game done this?" When the game that came out like literally a year ago from 2 years ago from writing this article. Was it 2019? 76 came out.
Yes.
Was it 28? No, it would have been like 2018. A game that had been out for years at this point, and they're like, "Man, sucks that no Fallout game has ever done this thing," which the most recent Fallout game has done.
Mm-hmm.
Grumble. Alright, let's just do the last paragraph of this.
Okay.
Where they say, Fallout 5 dropping cities, or at the very least putting the bulk of the focus on everything else, would add a much-needed degree of freshness to this beloved series. It's going stale, and I'm dreading the hype for the next dystopian take on a famous American town. Fallout is much more than that game where Washington DC is a wreck, and it would be a welcome change of pace to shake things up, especially considering that every entry in the series has had a city since the 90s. That last point's wrong. Sorry.
Every entry?
But yeah, it's wrong. It's just wrong. Do we need to go over it? I mentioned Fallout Shelter earlier, which clearly isn't a city. But yeah. It feels like they've just spent all their time in Fallout exploring the cities rather than going and doing quests outside of them, and they're annoyed about that.
Yeah. I feel like the frustration was a little high for this particular situation for this person too, where maybe they didn't fully articulate what they were trying to go for with this article. I don't know who editor-in-chief approved this. Like, I don't even know if they have one, but I wonder if some of it had to do with like you were just suggesting, like questing in external areas and stuff like that. Like quests in like settlements and stuff like that seem to be a bit more interesting or involved than the stuff that happens outside. Maybe.
Yeah. Possibly.
Because like Fallout 4 is a giant like split between factions kind of thing. You're primarily working with factions, and they have their settlements, obviously.
Yes.
Maybe that's part of what made this annoying to them. Maybe they're saying, like, in the sense of quests, there needs to be more stuff outside of civilization. I mean, maybe. I'm really grasping here, though. That could have been a better argument
for maybe just Fallout 4. But then I think about Fallout 3, where, like, very little stuff actually happens in the city overall. Like, the bulk of it is really out in the wastelands, I feel.
I'm talking about, like, inside the settlements, not the city itself proper. But
then it's not a problem with cities, which goes back to their argument not being solid, because they talk about loving Megaton and stuff. Yeah.
It very much confused the whole thing with ruined cities versus settlements somehow, and then confusing the two while they were going through the article.
Is very much just, let's not have the ruins of a city from the old world in this game.
Yeah.
And then their points get a little all over the place when trying to defend it when they come under, like, full scrutiny of stuff. But it seems like they just don't want an old world city to appear in the next Fallout game. They want a city that was built up, fresh, but then what is the practical difference that's going on there?
There's not really too much of one. Like, I mean, I'm not a game
developer.
You
lose out on memorable landmarks.
Yeah.
And you gain people talking about how they spent ages building a place, I guess.
And I gotta give it to 76. Those NPCs that complain about their backs hurting all the time, man, that's my favorite dialogue that happens.
Yep.
It's not as interesting as he makes it sound, because we already have examples of kind of what this article at face value is kind of wanting, like, because he used Metro Exodus as an example too, but despite being gorgeous, like, Metro Exodus is a gorgeous game. Extremely atmospheric, so good. However, there is some things that it still lacks. And part of it is because of it is a linear story. So it has to limit itself in that way. Whereas we're still comparing this to open world Bethesda games. Games that are designed to be interesting every so many paces between locations. Yeah, man. What do we do for these articles? Like, do we rate them and how wrong they are?
We could give them a rating. Wait, is the rating like 10 out of 10 is incredibly wrong, or 10 out of 10 is a good article? We need to be clear on this.
We should make it really confusing and do the 10 out of 10 it's horribly wrong.
Okay, I'd give this a 7 out of 10 then.
Okay.
I don't think this
wrong.
is like, yeah, it needs to be worked on a bunch more.
Yeah.
Like, there's potentially an argument that could be worked here, but it's a bit jumbled up. If there is a strong point, I feel like it's hidden away, and we need to kind of understand more of why the person thinks this. Because right now, their arguments
seems like more complaining than critique.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. At least that's kind of the vibe.
Like, the argument is much more, I don't like this thing. I like this other thing, though.
Don't put this in a city ruin, but I want more megatons, please.
Yeah. Just tons of megatons, all connected, all right next to each other.
Tons of megatons.
But it's not somewhere we've seen before in the real world. And it's like, well, why? Once again, what's the difference that it makes? Practically nothing. You just lose out on landmarks.
Yeah.
And all you're losing is the cool factor of, oh wow, that's that place I recognize. You lose that feeling and you gain nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I'd give it a 7 out of 10. Like, it's
7
far from the worst, but
yeah. If you go into these opinion articles, like, there's super opinion pieces too, by the way. I so wish, I'm gonna gripe about this again. I so wish that they had opinions like clearly stated somewhere on these articles. Because it's so confusing for like online journalist sites. If you're trying to get like accurate information on something, it's so difficult now. And this doesn't just apply to gaming, by the way, but it's frustrating to me that finding actual like eyewitness reports and factual information from articles like this is really difficult.
It's a nightmare.
Yeah. And this is a guide author saying that. I thrive on accurate information. That's how I make money. That's how I subsist, and my channel stays up. Is accurate info. Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you. I'm gonna agree with you for the 7 out of 10 wrongness. Incorrectness.
Like, we've seen articles with more egregious mistakes.
Oh yeah.
This was just much more of a, I feel like your point's a bit flawed. This is
easier to see as somebody's several paragraph argument in like the Fallout subreddit or something like that. Yeah. Like that's kind of what this feels like. Maybe how he got his job was somebody at the Gamer liked his ranty post on Reddit and was just like, hey, you're hired. Right for us.
You know what? Speaking as the person out of the two of us who has made much more of the opinionated Fallout stuff in the past.
Oh, you have. Yes, you have.
Videos where I'm like, hey, I don't like the OST and stuff. There are clear points you need to hit where you state why you think your opinion would make something better and why you don't like it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
even though plenty of people disagree with me on my opinions, I've still had plenty of people who still disagree be like, I understand why you made your points, I've got a personal disagreement with it, but be cool with it. Because there's a right and a wrong way to go about it, and I always do it the right way. I say only remembering one example off the top of my head.
And a lot of this, keep in mind, people that are still listening and enjoying us kind of ripping this article apart, like, this is still, I want to treat this as all in good fun. We're just poking holes in the logic here. Like, we're not trying to personally attack or anything like that. I don't want to make it that either.
Giving like so much more scrutiny to this article than was ever expected.
Oh no.
Like, I wouldn't be at all surprised if this was like, the person thought this thing and then had like a few hours to write it and was like, yeah, I've got a bit of a gripe. I don't like the quests in the cities and stuff. Let me just type a quick article, get it done for the website. There we go.
Oh yeah, like, or just trying to hit the word limit too. Just saying stuff. Yeah. Like, I did that when I wrote for the local paper. I'll admit it. There's a 200 word limit, and sometimes just saying this person is old. You need to fill that out to 200 words. It's real difficult to do. Which is why I'm not really a writer anymore. I don't want to write 200 words about somebody who's old.
Okay. Well,
just appreciate
if that's what you've not been doing, what have you actually been doing, Caedo?
Oh, what have I been doing? I was about to type that in.
Yeah, Caedo's just
I mostly
left a blank space on the what you play, just working on element of our thing, where I've got mine just filled with stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing so much. You've done nothing. Nothing, Caedo.
I haven't done much, to be honest. I guess more of a personal thing. I finally went to a physical therapist and got my shoulder properly looked at, and range of motion, all that kind of stuff, to finally like really determine what is going on with my shoulder. And what was initially thought to be biceps tendonitis, which is my biceps tendon just like being irritated by repeated motion or like stress injury or something like that. It may be more related to the ball and socket area of my shoulder pushing down on the muscles because of my posture, and that in turn inflaming those tendons in my shoulder and not getting any better because my posture sucks. So yeah, so basically I have a multi-week plan of doing various physical therapy exercises for both of my arms to ensure that I'm not just grinding down the tendons in my upper torso and shoulders, and instead, checking my posture, making sure I'm leaning back a bit more, having to get another new chair because this one doesn't promote that.
Oh dear.
Yeah. But it's getting close to my birthday, and I'm like, Kite, do you still want to buy me a new chair? So Kite's gonna probably buy me a new chair. So that's one of the things for anybody who's really been interested in knowing, or an update. Been playing a bit of Valheim, been getting the Valheim bug a little bit. Tried the new content, the Frost Caves and stuff like that came out. There are claw weapons in the game now. Probably the first of many. So Valheim has become even more of my my favorite survival game out there, because now there's a fists class of skill instead of unarmed, making it known that there's gonna be fist class weapons up until endgame, probably at some point. And Fallout 2 playthrough's going pretty strong. I am just about ready to tackle New Reno.
Ooh, a city? No.
A city in the middle of the wasteland.
That's gonna suck. That'll be bad, objectively.
That's been taken over thematically by 4 warring crime families.
No. Can't be having that in our Fallout games.
And, has connections to the creator of Jet, Myron.
Possibly.
Skynet. And, I don't know, just some really evil people. But I made it harder for myself because I plan on becoming made man with all of them, and the game is not designed in a way where you're supposed to do that, but you can.
Okay.
So I'm being a little exploity. Like I had to go through and do it myself before recording, just to make sure I was doing it the proper way without taking way too much time to do it.
Yeah.
Because it's a let's play. I don't want to take too much time doing much of anything. Yay! Caedo considers time all the time.
Whoa.
I want to be interesting. I want 20 minutes of being interesting, not 40 minutes of inventory management and misreading things and loading screens and other stuff like that.
Yeah. That's what live streams are for.
I can't believe people watch that.
I mean, it is weird how if you edit out that stuff in a Let's Play, you'll have people comment being like, why did you get rid of that stuff? I wanted to see it. But if you leave it in, then you'll have people
I just got one of those too.
I'm not going to stick around. Yeah.
I literally just got one of those today. Or was it this morning? So I skipped through the armor management between Sulik and Cassidy. And like I just had a hard cut from inventory to inventory. and somebody was like, "Are you sure you gave the Bridgekeeper's robes to Sulik? Or are you sure you equipped it to him? Because I didn't show it equipping to him."
Yeah. I mean, that's not too bad of a comment as far as those ones go.
Yeah. That's not too bad,
because I didn't. Someone being concerned.
I didn't show it. It's just implied that I know what I'm doing. But, you know, obviously people don't trust that I know what I'm doing, because I still get comments on the Ultimate Leveling Guide about something that's been a 10-year-old issue, and people still think it's a lie.
I mean, I know for a fact in, I believe, my Fallout 4 realism mode, I had both, like, comments throughout that series of people saying, like, show the full inventory management, and also people going, why are you showing the boring stuff? Just go to the combat.
Yeah.
Like,
you can't please everyone.
Nope.
It's whatever your own standard is. I think you should go with that. Like,
yeah.
Anybody in the comments who's looking into like trying to let's play or stuff like that, just do what you would want to watch. Just stick to that. There are other people that will probably agree with you. There are other people that'll complain about it. Like, that's just how it goes.
Yep.
But I haven't gotten many like upset people, especially when they see Marcus with the Bozar like cut me in half with it because I decided to give a companion a burst weapon just for fun. Like, I think that's still entertainment.
Yeah,
because that was my fault. That's my retribution for giving a devastating weapon to a companion who's not a very good shot if I'm standing, you know, in between them and their target.
Yeah.
But yeah, Valheim Fallout 2 and shoulder being addressed. That's and bad. Bad and addressed. Also, taxes suck. We'll throw that out there too. I got a letter from the IRS for my 2020 taxes saying I owe $3,000, and it might actually be true.
Oh no.
Yeah, so I'm gonna pay close to 10 grand in taxes.
What?
Yeah.
That's, man.
Yeah, my taxes for self-employment gets a bit of a penalty just for being. I call it a penalty because it's just they're taking more of your money. But I'm at like 15.6% of gross earnings is taxed. So, yeah, I'm gonna be paying about 6 grand in taxes for 2021, and I mean, that 3K or so, or 3K and some change that I failed to pay and was a correction. So it's gonna be a lot.
I once said on a live stream that I was like happy to have my taxes all paid and done and stuff, and I got some comments of people being like, "Oh, what's going on?" Because taxes and stuff. And I kind of have realised since then just how much worse it seems to be on the American side of things when it comes to paying taxes.
Yeah.
It's not like good and a super fun experience with rainbows and cocaine in the UK, but it seems a little less stressful. Still somewhat stressful, just not as stressful.
Yeah. Fortunately, I don't have to add my, medical insurance just yet. I have next year is when I do that. So
you have to put that in your man.
Yep.
Yeah. I spoke with my nan recently about my taxes, and I was like, yeah, I have to like add 2 numbers together, and then I put it in. That's about it. My taxes are very easy for me to do.
So lucky, Sarge.
Oh, man.
I envy you a little bit. Anyway.
I'm sorry, America. I'm never moving to you.
This is exciting to talk about what I'm working on. Please tell me what you're working on, Sarge.
Okay. I'm still working on a secret project, which next episode, I'm pretty sure I'll be able to reveal all. So tune in next time to actually learn what the secret project was.
I know what the secret project was.
Caedo does. Caedo's seen one of the videos and helps with another one.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Okay. But in between working on the secret project, I've been playing a lot of games.
Yeah, you have.
I'm pretty much finished with Total War Warhammer 3 now.
Wait, what are you, me?
For the time being. Because, there's only one campaign you can do in it. You can do it as a different playable characters, and I've played as almost every character now. I think there's one I've not played as.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there's literally only one character I've not played as, and I'm pretty sure they're the worst in the game. So I'm not too fussed about that. But I am looking forward to, updates for that game, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be a game that whenever there's an update, I'm going to go back to it, and once the big Immortal Empires campaign drops, then I'll spend a ton of time in it. But for now, I'm sorted with it. I did a short livestream series recently. I did a Fallout 3 Evil run, where you can really be a jerk in Fallout 3.
Yeah,
they give you so many good, like, nasty speech options. It's so
nice
fun.
hat, Calamity Jane.
Like,
speaking of sheriffs.
Oh yeah, but man. There were a lot of times where my live stream chat was just like, oh god, how did you do that? That's so cruel. Like, it's in the runnings of a game where you can be most evil just in a, like, base level sense.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, you're not torturing people 24/7, but you're just being one of those people you never want to meet out in public, which is lovely. But I did a short little stream play session of that. Unfortunately, Fallout 3 is one of those games which doesn't get many views from my audience, so I've packed in that live stream session, but I might continue the playthrough in my own time. I then beat Final Fantasy 2, so I've been going through a bunch of Final Fantasy games, which has been kind of fun. I didn't 100% it like I did the first one, but I did get through and play through the whole thing, and enjoyed it for the most part. Honestly, Final Fantasy 2, worse than Final Fantasy 1. Just gonna say it.
I'm not in a place to argue that, so
yep.
You're gonna have to rely on the comments to tell you why you're wrong.
Final Fantasy 1 feels like a very good kind of streamlined game, where everything fits together. Final Fantasy 2, the biggest problem I actually had with it was that I had to refer to a walkthrough quite a few times. Because in the first game, it's very good about giving you the ability to, like, talk to NPCs and they'll direct you on where to go and make things a lot clearer. Final Fantasy 2, the NPCs are kind of worthless in that part, and there's several times where you have to do something which feels kind of illogical, and the only way you'd figure it out is by just randomly having it happen, is what I'll say.
So like point-and-click adventure game logic?
Yeah, it goes a little bit too far into that, for my opinion. So I ended up having to go to a walkthrough quite a bit just to see, like, what place am I supposed to go to now? That kind of stuff. I've also been playing some Kingdoms of Amalur recently.
What?
Played a little bit more of that. And I built up Grave Hall Keep, I believe it's called. Which is in the Dead Kell Pirate DLC. You get to build up, like, a giant, like, keep for you to live in. And you get tons of, like, people there. Like, you get a thief who's your bartender, you get, like, an artist who puts paintings on the walls and refurbishes them, and then you get permanent bonuses from them. I got an Auroch, which is like a big cow, which was sent over after some diplomatic missions. It's honestly great. I love building up a settlement and questing and helping people, and it's been a ton of fun. But now I've got it all built up and I'm a bit like, probably stop playing.
Yeah.
But that's fine, because I've got another third-person game, which I got sent a code for, so I didn't even have to buy.
Yeah!
Stranger of Paradise, a Final Fantasy Origin, which is a prequel of the original Final Fantasy game, maybe? Sort of. Seems like it's set in the future. Time travel's weird.
Has really good context as to what happens.
Yeah. Because I 100%ed the original Final Fantasy game, and I, like, spoke to everyone as well, I'm pretty sure I have a ton of spoilers for this game.
Yep.
Which is weird to play through when I potentially know what happens. It doesn't help that I watched the trailer for the game, and that has, like, one major spoiler in it, which you wouldn't otherwise know.
Yeah.
But
so if you don't want to be spoiled, and you are familiar with Final Fantasy 1, don't watch the trailer.
Do not watch the trailer. It reveals, like, a hidden identity. Just so plainly and simply. It's ridiculous. I will say I've been quite enjoying it. It's the first third-person game where I can, like, walk through a tunnel and I'm not constantly bumping into walls. They've got, like, a setting which helps stop that happening, and that is great. If more games in the future can incorporate that technology, then I could actually start playing third-person games a lot better, which I'd love. However, the PC port does have some issues. I tried to stream it and it kept crashing at the same point. I tried off-stream and it kept crashing at the same point, so I had to delete an entire save because it just boots up and instantly crashes after a cinematic plays. There's no way around it.
Oh, wow.
Which sucks. The graphical issues, like, it just doesn't look as good as it should. Like, it looks arguably worse from the console versions, it seems. And there's been the odd audio blip and stuff as well, but crashing and hitching and things, like, the PC port has some issues. They're not issues that are constant throughout while you're playing, but they are, like, a serious thing that needs to get patched. But overall, I've still been having fun with it.
Yeah, I'm glad. And I look forward to trying it.
Yes. It is multiplayer, so we could play together.
Oh my god.
Yeah, you could be my punching sidekick.
Ah!
I could be the mage/dragoon, which is the current combo I'm going with.
I want to be a punchy sidekick.
Yeah, I've actually spec'd into white mage very early on, and I'm just like being the support healer for my followers. Which is kind of nice.
I'll be your Amarant.
Yeah! Alright, well, that's something for us to look forward to. But that's going to be it for the PIPCAST.
Yeah.
I hope everyone has enjoyed. You've probably gone now. I've said it's over, so nobody sticks around for like the last minute or two of any standard video, let alone a podcast.
No.
None of you are listening to it. You've all gone. We're talking to no one right now, Caedo. We can say anything.
Yeah.
Tell them your social security number.
You tell them your secret project.
Oh, yeah, why not? No one's here. It's fine. I'm working on Fallout 5 Raiders of New York. I've wrote my own Fallout game. I'm doing several videos on it. I think on Thursday I've got the intro video, which is like a pitch for it. Then I've got a faction video the week after. I made a full card game, which Caedo and I have actually played against each other and stuff. That's coming. And I need to get footage for a Thief faction is what I'm doing after this. So yeah, that's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks for listening, everyone. Bye.
Take care.